Welcome to Quran for Humanity channel. Here we discuss various topics about the Quran and Islam. Please subscribe to our channel if you are new here and press the bell sign so that you get notification for all our new videos. Today we will discuss about 5 pillars of Islam. Islam obligates 5 acts of worship which forms the foundation of Islamic practice. They are known as 5 pillars of Islam. These pillars help a believer to submit himself to God, develop self-discipline, based character, social responsibility, spirituality, and build a relationship with his Lord. These pillars are as follows. So the first pillar is testimony. Also known as Shahada, it is a testimony that bears witness and affirms the belief that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger and servant. The first part of this affirmation deals with the monotheism, and this is the core principle of Islam. Associating anybody or anything with God is idolatry and is unacceptable and unforgivable sin. In this connection, the Quran says, "Indeed, Allah does not forgive association with Him, but He forgives what is less than that for whom He wills. And he who associates others with Allah has certainly fabricated a tremendous sin." Chapter number 4, verse number 48. When we firmly believe that there is no one worthy of worship, we, in a sense, accept that God is the creator of everything that exists. God is the sovereign and He is the disposer of all affairs. And He is the only one worthy of worship. The second part of the affirmation states that Muhammad is God's messenger and slave. Peace be upon him, is God's messenger and slave. This affirmation clearly indicates that he was also a human and a worshipper of God. It is also implied that since Muhammad is the messenger of God, it is incumbent upon a believer to trust Muhammad, peace be upon him, and obey all his instructions. Quran says, "O you have believed, respond to Allah and to the messenger when he calls you to that which gives you life." Chapter number 8, verse number 24. Second pillar is prayers, also called Salat in Arabic. Salat means the offering of prayers to the one and only God. This involves fixed physical postures which include standing, bowing, and prostrating in a particular order, requiring some recitation of the Quranic verses during the process. The prayer has to be offered 5 times a day at fixed timings and must be performed in accordance with the instructions given by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. The prayer keeps the remembrance of God alive in the hearts of believers throughout the day and night. Prayer is the best way to communicate with God, and Islam gives this opportunity 5 times a day. In the prayers, a believer converses with the Lord directly, seeking His forgiveness, help, and guidance. A believer pleads to God in every prayer, "You alone we worship, and you alone we turn for help. Guide us to the straight path." Chapter number 1, verse 5 and 6. Muslims pray individually and in congregation in a mosque. Muslims of the entire world face Makkah while praying, and this way they unify direction in the same direction. The five daily prayers are as follows: Fajr, the early morning prayer; Zuhar, the early afternoon prayer; Asr, the late afternoon prayer; Maghrib, the sunset prayer; Isha, the night prayer. Salat is the most basic act of expressing gratitude and submission to God and condition for success in this life and life after death. About Salat, Quran says, successful indeed are the believers who are humble in their prayers. Chapter number 23, verse number 1 and 2. Throughout the day, a person is immersed with the multiple necessary tasks and also with many activities just for relaxation. During the course of these activities, a person may face many harmful emotions like fatigue, greed, lust, anger, envy, and so on. Prayer is a great tool for the believer to get the comfort and be steadfast. Through the prayers, a believer keeps constant touch with his Lord, get rid of negative feelings, reorient his attention towards the Lord again, and get comfort and patience. Third pillar is known as fasting or as Sawm in Arabic. It's a religious obligation of every adult Muslim to fast from dawn to dusk during the month of Ramadan. However, people who are sick, elderly, or are travelers are exempted under the condition that they compensate for the lost days by fasting some other time of the year or they feed poor. During fasting, one must abstain from eating, drinking, and physical relations with one's spouse. The purpose of fasting is to purify the soul, focus the mind towards worship, and increase one's piety and devotion to God. Fasting is an act of self control and discipline. It teaches Muslims how to be patient and humble. It also helps them to understand what it feels like to be hungry and thirsty. On the outer side, fasting teaches to control and win over hunger, thirst, physical pleasure, while from the inner dimensions, it teaches to refrain from all weaknesses of the heart like craving for pleasure, lust, greed, envy, and backbiting. It is said in the Quran, O you who believe, fasting is prescribed to you as it was prescribed to those before you, that you may learn piety and righteousness. Chapter number 2, verse number 183. Fourth pillar of Islam is alms tax, or called Zakat in Arabic. This is the fourth pillar of Islam. It is obligatory on every adult Muslim to donate 2.5% of his or her surplus wealth or savings over which one lunar year has passed to the needy, destitute, and poor people in the community. The word zakat means to purify. So, by paying zakat, a Muslim is purifying his or her wealth. The underlying motive of zakat is to encourage the concept of charity, thereby helping one to overcome greed, hoarding instinct, and attachment to the wealth and the worldly possessions. Zakat is paid on the assets like jewelry, monetary savings, investment in shares, bonds, agricultural products, business stocks, and property, excluding a primary dwelling place. Alms tax is one of the five pillars of Islam and it is mandatory for all Muslims who are able to do so. The purpose of charity is to help those who are in need, and it is an act of worship that pleases Allah. This obligation serves as a social support for poor Muslims. It is said in the Quran, the righteous people are those who spend their money during times of both ease and hardship, who restrain their anger and pardon people. Allah loves the charitable. Chapter number 3, verse number 134. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Do not show lethargy or negligence in giving alms and charity till your last breath." The fifth and the last pillar of Islam is pilgrimage to Makkah or Hajj. Visiting Makkah for performing Hajj at least once in a lifetime is the fifth obligatory duty of a Muslim. However, this must be fulfilled only if one is in a position to afford the journey financially, if they are physically able to do so, and all the other needs of one's family are secured. If a Muslim does not have sufficient means to fulfill this obligation, he or she is exempted. For Muslims, the Hajj is an extraordinary spiritual experience that benefits them in many ways. It can also be an opportunity to learn more about the history of Islam and to strengthen ties between Muslims from different countries. It is a time for Muslims to reflect on their faith and become closer to God. The Quran says, "Proclaim to the people the Hajj. They will come to you on foot and on every lean camel. They will come from every distant pass." Chapter number 22, verse number 27. In conclusion, 5 pillars of Islam are source of guidance and strength for Muslims. From recognizing God as the only deity worthy of worship, to prayers, charity, fasting during Ramadan and pilgrimage, this pillar help shape life of Muslims. With this, we have come to the end of today's discussion. We will bring you more talks about the Quran, so keep visiting us. And do not forget to subscribe our channel and press the bell sign so you get the notification for all new videos. If you want to read the Quran in your own language, you may download it from our website Quran for Humanity for free. We have more than 100 translations of the Quran in different languages. May guidance and peace be upon entire humanity.